Hey guys, so first of all, this won't be my usual style of video. There will be no artwork or anything. But I want to hop on here and just share some thoughts I had on this dope trailer we got. This is the final trailer before release, which had a tough predecessor to live up to, Breath of the Wild's pre-release trailer. That trailer is a masterpiece, and I still watch it to this day when I need a good cry. Not that this trailer didn't absolutely make me bawl my eyes out. It did. It really did. So let's get into this and discuss a few things I noticed. We've seen Hateno Village in other trailers, but it was far from a distance and it didn't seem populated. This shot we get of the village is the exact opposite. Hateno is lively and decorated in mushrooms of all things. They are both clad in mushroom attire, even hats, and have mushroom decor polluted about. There even seems to be stands and shops with this fungus style. To me, this screams festival. Hyrule is rebuilding, and I imagine that tourism and trade will be essential in that regrowth. Following this clip, we get a quick shot of Castletown with some Hylian, probably military tents set up at the center. The rebuilding of Castletown is definitely something I'd hoped for, but was skeptical it would happen due to Hyrule Castle being, well, you know. I was surprised to see little to no malice in the area, especially considering Castletown's close proximity to this explosion of malice. Kakariko Village seems like it's going through either a rebuild after some destruction or an expansion effort, evident by the scaffolding dotted around. This could be because of the stone artifacts that have landed here. They appear to be from the sky due to the architecture and yellow foliage we see on them. Based on the positioning of this piece here, it almost reads as some kind of portal or even a Zonai catapult. It seems angled at Hyrule Castle. Perhaps Link repairs this Zonai catapult that shoots us at the castle for our final fight against Ganon. Or it's a Twilight or time warping portal that Link can use later on. Now, that also sounds cool. We've got a few interesting shots of the Gerudo Desert, which was great because we really haven't seen much of it yet. A temple is rising from the sand. At first glance, I thought it was the Arbiter's grounds, but there are stairs are present before the temple starts to rise up from the sand, and Arbiter's grounds does have pillars but no stairs on the surface. There also seems to be this Zonai swirl thingy that seems to be in some spots that shrines were in. My other thought is that it could be the ruins outside the northern ice house, as it is one of the few places with stairs and pillars present and a shrine nearby. But the wide-angle shot of the temple rumbling doesn't show any mountains nearby, so my best guess is it could be the ruins near Takima Shiri Shrine, which have the stairs, pillars, and the blue blurry glow from the sandstorms in the area. So my strongest theory is the temple will be around the northwest area of the Gerudo Desert, or the map could expand beyond the borders we know from Breath of the Wild, and it is in some completely new area outside of the map we know. In a separate clip of the desert, we see the same army of Moldugas traveling fast through a canyon. We've seen this shot in a different trailer, but from much further away. These enemies are quickly disposed of by a giant gold beam of power. There are a couple things this could be. It could be the strange deity we are introduced to briefly for the first time. She is similar in appearance to Zelda with the same color eyes, hair, and similar gown. She is tanner with Zonai paint or tattoos on her skin. She raises her hand up, a glowing gold light starts to well up in her palm, and then it cuts to the shot of the Moldugas. This could be a similar power to Zelda's Triforce power in Breath of the Wild, either indicating this person is Hylia or even Zelda's mother. The other possibility of the source of the power is Riju. Directly after the Molduga clip, we see Riju doing a dance with her sword, summoning strong lightning around herself, similar to Urbosa's fury. She could be trying to defeat these monsters before they reach Gerudo Town, or protecting the Hylians from the desert beasts. Moving on, we get another look at our big bad of the game, Ganon. In this shot, it almost looks as if he is transforming, or rehydrating. Later in the trailer, and in the promotional art posted by Nintendo's Twitter, we see Ganon looking a lot more human. His hair looks like normal Gerudo hair, not tendrils moving and glowing on their own. One arm looks completely ordinary and fully formed, but on the left side we see it incomplete, growing, glowing, and somewhat scaly. Ganon's sleeve in the promotional art covers this side of him, but it appears he has fingers and no scales. My guess is this is the cutscene where we finally challenge Ganon. He'll transform right in front of our eyes, part beast. I might have jinxed the return of Demise in the Imprisoned in my last video, based on the appearance of these scales, that is. So I'm really sorry about that, guys. Hopefully this won't be as easy as the Beast fight Ganon from Breath of the Wild, but I definitely think the Zelda team has had enough time to create a really awesome Beast Ganon fight. Then we get the same clip we've seen 100 times now, but it's extended by a few frames. As Zelda falls into the depths, she begins to glow with a golden light. This is likely indicating how she, or some other powerful being, saves her from certain death. Continuing ahead, this appears to be a shot of the East Barrens in the desert, with sand falling in an odd pattern. I lined it up in my game and the shot is almost exact. This is probably just to remind players that cartoons were right and quicksand is the biggest problem we can face in adult life. Then we get this awesome clip of what seems to be a dungeon. Based on the Flamebreaker armor and lava cascading down, this is somewhere near or underneath Death Mountain. We get another shot later on in the trailer of what seems like the same underground Goron area. This time, Link is on a powered rail system fighting with a construct. First of all, it's interesting that Link has obviously powered both minecarts with Ultra Hand, but why would he want to bring an enemy with him? I was also surprised to see this construct underground on the surface, so I guess these will be just about everywhere. As they zoom past, we see a familiar structure in the background. This seems to be the mining area from the last trailer, evident by the strange glowing tree in the middle. To me, this mining area with the minecarts acts like an entrance of a dungeon, and the clip from before seems deep inside an actual Elden dungeon. Then we get a shot of some epic skyships. Based on the bird-shaped figure head at the front and the Andean-inspired patterns, this seems to be a Rito aircraft. They are also circling the giant cyclone, which honestly has me baffled and excited. Later in the trailer, Link and Tulin go bouncing off the top of one of these ships to propel higher into the sky. Now inside of the cyclone, Heber Peak's monster is looking icy and feisty. Link and Tulin dive towards this leviathan as it emerges from either the heart of the storm or another portal entirely. We see a lot of Tulin in this trailer. We even hear some voice lines. Considering Tulin wasn't even a main character in Breath of the Wild, it begs the question, what happened to Tiba, his father? I believe he has been incapacitated in some way. Maybe the elder of Rito Village has passed on and Tiba cannot leave the village to help Link. Or possibly Tiba himself has been gravely injured, or worse. Let me know in the comments why you think Nintendo chose Tulin over Tiba to assist Link. I'm dying to know what you think. Then there seems to be a shot of what looks like a vertical or possibly moving labyrinth structure in the sky. The wall textures and patterns are the same in the labyrinth from Breath of the Wild, maybe even this cube we see at the beginning. Outside of Fort Hateno, we see Hylian farmers and civilians fighting a group of moblins, either trying to reclaim or protect territory. It almost seems as if Link is leading them. Maybe Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity was more canon than we thought. Then we get this shot of Link traveling very fast up a Sheikah elevator. This platform translates to transport and is the same platform we see Link on surrounded by guardian hands in a different trailer. He is holding an upgraded Sheikah slate attached to a pulley system on his hip. The rope is quickly unraveling as he ascends, and Link doesn't look particularly happy about it. But I guess the greater question is, what's on the other end of the rope? Then we get the first look at this rabbit humanoid-like creature. They have a sinister grin on and are quite roughed up, and we can see embers of malice rising up behind them. It almost feels as if they are trying to indicate this being a foe. But to me, this feels like a classic misdirection by Nintendo. This is the being from the wall carvings in past trailers. The ears with hanging tassels line up well, the closed eye on the forehead with prominent lashes, the long flowing curly hair, the accessories, and the hair tendrils with accents. Later on in the trailer, we see this figure consoling and guiding Zelda, which would line up well with what we see in the prophecy. We also get this close-up of their arm, which matches the arm sealing Ganon, which makes me feel like this person rabbit thing is definitely on our side and not hostile. The camera then swirls around Link as he stands in the restored throne room of Hyrule Castle. Based on the light particles in the scene, this is either a memory, another world, or in a different time. I hope this isn't the only room in the castle we'll get to see restored like this. Maybe this is post-defeating Ganon. Link and Zelda wish upon the Triforce to restore Hyrule and seal Ganon. Now that's a theory. Then it cuts to Zelda, opening a sky temple door to the outside. Her dress and skin seem a bit beat up and dirty as if going through some ordeal. It seems as if she might have just solved a Zonai puzzle involving a moon and sun dial. Based on the right-hand side, this turning shape has sun-like appendages, while the left, in contrast, is smooth like a moon. I hope this means we'll be playing or at least assisting Zelda in her journey as well. Skipping forward, we see Link on Death Mountain again. We can see a glimpse of the sky, so it doesn't seem like he's underground like before, but rather just in a hut. It appears as if he's doing some type of trial or minigame as two Gorons watch I imagine defeating or dodging this rolled up Goron is part of a task in this area, granting Link access to something. Similarly to Twilight Princess, where you must wrestle Gorons and beat them in their own game in order to get access to the temple. Speaking of Gorons, they seem to be mysteriously missing from this trailer, especially Yunobo. I'm afraid the destruction from the malice spewing out of the volcano is worse than we originally believed. Or the Gorons are infected with malice and completely out of the picture. If you want to hear more about this theory, check out my Malice Zombies Goron theory linked above. Link maneuvers a giant stone siege weapon towards a platform talus. It even seems to have a lightning rod attached to its arm. Also, why did they have to make this thing so dang cute? Look at its little wobbly T-Rex arms. It's adorable. Now let's talk about this tear Zelda's holding. It's not the only one we see in this trailer. Zelda has one shown here in her hand and around her neck in other shots. Ganon has one slightly obscured by the light in this clip, but confirmed in his promotional art. Sidon has one on his hand, and Tulin has one on his hip. Riju seems to have one incorporated into her earring. While this mysterious rabbit creature has one on their hand that we can see in the shot of them reaching out to Zelda. The other mysterious deity we see has one on her necklace as well, although it does seem close in color to Zelda's, so they could be the same stone. Assuming these are all different tiers, this makes up all 7 tiers we see in the carving. This could imply all these people with a stone is a sage. Good luck getting Ganon to agree to seal himself. Now, there are a couple voice lines that really stood out to me. At the very end of the trailer, Zelda cries out, "Link, you must find me." This implies Zelda's either stuck somewhere. Keep in mind, this could be said when she is still underground, not in the Sky Islands, and the clip is meant to be misleading with the sound. Or, Zelda might be traveling around in this game, getting stuff done, separate of Link. Once again, I'm hoping for playable. It reminds me of Skyward Sword, where Link is constantly chasing after Zelda, being led by a knowledgeable spiritual guide, but he's always a couple minutes late. It's a, your princess is in another castle, or in this case, island, sort of thing. The other voice line that interested me had a lot of implications. I believe it was spoken by either Tulin or Riju, although I'm not sure exactly. In a reassuring opposition, this voice says, "But you are not alone." The clips that play in the background of this voice proceeds to show us Link's friends and allies, a ragtag group of Gorons, Gerudo, and Hylians positioned behind Link ready to fight. Riju, Sidon, and Tulin rushing in to fight alongside you in a separate scene. I feel strongly that this could mean multiplayer, or, at the very least, Link will have companions to fight with in Tears of the Kingdom. There's a couple of reasons I believe in multiplayer in particular, though. Riju's hair also got the cut. I believe now more than ever that Riju and Zelda will be playable. Game devs often give playable characters shorter hairstyles, as it can avoid the hair mesh from clipping with weapons and shields on their backs. For both main female Zelda characters to get short haircuts seems like too much of a coincidence. My other thoughts are around these blue Sheikah lines radiating off of Tulin and Sidon. This seems like a method of indicating that you have teleported this player to your side. These lines appear very similar to the ones we see in Breath of the Wild when you teleport using the Sheikah Slate. Teleportation makes a lot of sense during this clip of Sidon fighting with us in the Sky Islands. Now, this could all still mean NPC companions fighting in-game, but we saw the box art for the OLED edition of the Tears of the Kingdom Switch, and it did have the online capability tag on it. Also, recently, popular Zelda speedrunner PointCrow had a few of his videos blocked by Nintendo. Interestingly enough, this creator makes a lot of Breath of the Wild modded content, yet the only ones that were striked were involving multiplayer mods. Nintendo might have been trying to protect the news that would soon come. Shout out to my pal Drew Mello who pointed this out in the comments of my last video. And a big thanks to you all. I know this is my normal content or the most in-depth analysis that I'm sure other Zelda tubers will give in the coming days, but I really wanted to share just a few initial ideas with you all and get a conversation going in the comments. If you did enjoy this video, consider subscribing. It's free and we're on a journey to 1K before Tears of the Kingdom releases. Thanks for watching everybody, and I'll see ya next time.